Only Ross County. It's only Ross County. It was only Ross County. Rangers rejected piecemeal development such as had plagued other grounds. They refused to compromise in size or materials. Ibrox was to have a new shape, 3 new stands, and enough office and showroom space to create an income independent of football. And instead of luxury accommodation for a minority, Rangers opted for maximum comfort and unimpeded view for all. I was reading that last night, wasn't I? I was reading the Simon Inglis Football Grounds of Great Britain team, the section on Ibrox. Oh, jeez, I didn't read that bit though, did I? Didn't read that bit about how it's we're the People's Club. We're actually the People's Club, but I was talking about Heat, wasn't it? Oh, geez, sorry. I can remember going on and on and on about Heat, about that my favourite heist movie and all that. I think I said at one point it's my favourite movie. Well, it isn't my favourite movie of all time. It's my favourite heist movie of all time. It's one of my favourite films of all time. But if I had to be in a desert island and if for some reason it had electricity in this desert island that could play maybe it had a generator or something like that could play a DVD and a television, but only had one DVD. I was only allowed one DVD. I'd probably go for something like Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility or Three Colours White or something like that. I think Three Colours White, I know. Nothing says more like you were a student in the 1990s than I like the Kozlowski Three Colours trilogy. Radiohead's OK Computer is my favourite album of all time. Either that or the Holy Bible by the Manics. And this is all true. This is all true, but I couldn't help going on and on about Heat last night because there's something about Heat. It's a constant argument. There's just something constantly happening with Heat. I need to keep reevaluating it. I need to keep. It's just new all the time, and I don't know. It's not the most perfect film ever. It's no the most enjoyable film ever, but it just gets under the skin. There's something about it that really chimes in my life. I think it's the work-life balance and the themes of the movie. Anyway, I'm sorry about going on, but I was just sober. I was so sober, and I thought I've got to stop this. I was sober at my nut last night. You're sitting up late at night. You're on the decaf tea. I'm on the McGee's. I'm on the McGee's 4 tarts. They're selling at Morrison's. They've got them right. There's be a law against that. They know what they're doing, Morrison's. You go in there and you're just going to get. I'm just going to get some fruit. I'm going to get some fruit before you can even get through the turnstile. They've got the McGee's big piles of them, £1.60 for the 4 tarts. You get a pineapple cake. You get a raspberry cake. It's a cherry bakewell, and it's just a bakewell. The other one, the kind of almondy one. They're all got almond in them, but oh god, they're absolutely fantastic. I'm back into that, and I'm having the tea up until 7 o'clock at night, and so I'm on to the decaf tetley's any time after 8 o'clock, and sorry folks, my head was. Well, I paid the price this morning. I woke up this morning, my head was just thumping. I must have, after I was ranting on to use about Heat on the preview pod, I must have fell asleep sober at my nut on the couch, and I must have left the telly on. And I have it on Sky Sports News all the time. It's on Sky Sports News. Because the only reason to watch Sky is Sky Sports News and the actual live fit. But in between that, they have the adverts, and it's these Sky Originals. Not when you're falling asleep, you're not really paying attention, but it gets under your skin. And as a programme, must be one of these Sky Originals. Every Sky Original I've watched, these so-called dramas, and I'm not above watching them, but they're all terrible. They're all absolutely awful. But what the days they can pay for good music, and one of them's got Radiohead. Everything in its right place. Everything. That's not actually far off how it sounds. Everything in its right place. That kind of liminal, atonal, up and down. It's just underlapping and overlapping sound, isn't it? It's just layers of sound and tapping each other. This beautiful, beautiful theme tune for this crap drama, no doubt it's going to be. I don't even know the name of the thing. Maybe it's not even a drama. Maybe it's an advert for something. But I'm pretty sure it's a Sky Original drama. But it starts with Kid A. The first track in Kid A, that Radiohead album, Everything in its Right Place. Really distinctive song, a beautiful song. And I remember I just woke up this morning. I'm like, I must have fell asleep listening to that, and it was just really getting to me. And I thought, it's OK Computer. That was my favourite. No, again, student of the 90s, as I say. OK Computer. This was a follow-up. And it was 2000. I remember thinking, Radiohead have totally sold it. They've sold it to Sky so soon. And then you realise how much an old man you are, because it's actually 24 years ago that song came out, Alex. So it's taken them quite a while to get around to earning the money they deserve to earn off it. And I'm just listening to this going, everything in its right, and that's Rangers, isn't it? Everything in its right place, everything in its right place, and it's Rangers. The whole thing with Hampdening, and it reminds me of Kid A, the album, and I did OK Computer or the Holy Bible, the Manics. No, it's typical. I was at uni in the 90s giveaway there, but I do absolutely love OK Computer, so I went rushed out and bought Kid A, and I've got it somewhere. I've got it CD, and I have listened to it all the way through twice. I just never really went back to it. And I've listened to that song, Everything at the Right Place. What a way to kick off an album. It was phenomenal. I remember having it on in the car, driving down to Greenock, I think, the first time. I thought, what is this? This is different. Oh, aye. I love this. This is good. This is great. Maybe this is going to be as good as OK Computer. And it just never happened. And it's been the same with Hampden. I keep telling myself it's going to work. It's the place to be. What an interesting thing historically. Ibrox and Hampden and Parkhead back in the Edwardian period, end of the Victorian period, they were vying to host internationals and cup finals all the time. It was an ongoing competition, which the Hampden we were in, the third Hampden, it was 1903, I think it opened, like 4 years after the current Ibrox that we were in opened, because it's the 125th birthday, what a way to celebrate it. That was when Hampden took over, and we had an Ibrox, 2 Ibrox disasters. We had another one. The first one was a Scotland-England game, 1902, I think it was, 40-odd people died in that one. That was the kind of old Celtic end, we'd call it now, the Brimley. It was all built up, wooden terraces, and it was Archibald Leach designed that, and he thought that was the end of his career, but that was it. That meant Hampden just had to redesign Ibrox, had to rebuild the terracing properly. After that, it took years, and it meant that Hampden just took away all the internationals and all the cup finals from Ibrox and Parkhead. And I thought it's interesting to go back to that, but we're kind of reliving that period for Rangers and Hampden to be kind of vying for the crowds that just watch Rangers these days. And I've told you the whole thing about what I thought was going to happen, but how I thought I was going to feel to see Rangers playing in Europe at Hampden. I thought it felt really good, and it's just it's no right. It's no right. Everything in its right place. Everything in its right, and the kind of underlapping and the overlapping, and the day when the teams come out, they come down the park, and I'm like, I've been talking about using. I'm quite confident using my phone now, and using the phone for the QR codes. But I like having the souvenir, the paper ticket. I go to Hampden today, and I'm getting parked further and further away. The more used I get to going to the 4th straight game at Hampden watching Rangers, and the more used I get to finding parking spaces and all that, the more those parking spaces are taken up. So the more I'm going to Hampden, the further away I'm getting parked from it, and the more inconvenient it's becoming. It's just never where you expect it to be, Hampden. It's always just a bit further away than you think it's going to be, no matter if you go by train, by foot, by boat, by aeroplane, or by my old clap-toot car and my awful Diane Shanks's pony. But I get the other day, and I get down to I was telling you last week, I had my jacket off, and I was a kind of Edward Said Orientalism type awful anecdote I was telling you last week about the fella that was checking my pockets and all that, checking my jacket last week. It was really pathetic. The day was a total opposite. The guy's just like made me like spin round on the spot. Different guy. And he did the shades on, and it was just like, I mean, that advert for the army, that advert for joining the army, where you say, if you're talking to folk in a foreign country and they're getting a bit worked up, if you take the shades off and just look them in the eye, make you feel better. Well, this guy, I was feeling a bit uptight, and he's speaking really quick. He turned me around, and he was turning me around. I had the jacket on this time, and he's making me turn around. I kept waiting for him to go, on you go, mate, on you go. And it wasn't happening. It was just, and I was standing there, I felt like Jesus up in the up in Brazil, up in the Sugarloaf Mountain, or whatever it is, where they got the big statue of the Jesus, Christ, the whatever Redeemer with the arms extended, and I was like, anyway, and I go up there eventually, and it turned out I'd forgot my phone. I'd left my phone in the house. I better charge this up because I'm running out of charge, and I better make sure I've got to charge my phone so I can use it. But luckily, I did have the ticket. I'd printed off, so having all the weeks of talking about just use your phone. The paper tickets are just a souvenir. Thank God I had the paper ticket on me today, and that's what got me in. And it's kind of everything in its right place. Everything was getting turned upside down. It's no right there with it Hampden, and I get up the stairs, all the escalators, and I get to my seat, and I'm just yet again I'm sweating up by the time I get there, and I'm talking to Davey and Jenna, how he's doing. All the teams are coming down the tunnel, and I'm like, right, okay, I was just starting, trying to get in the same kind of good mood as everybody else, and clapping, just clapping the team coming down the tunnel, and I turn around and I realise everybody else is clapping to Simply the Best. I don't know, Simply the Best is getting played all the time. My heart's on fire. I don't know if you're not talking about film references. You've seen The Jerk, Steve Martin. When he grows up with the family and then realises he doesn't have any rhythm. They realise he can't be one of them because he's not getting any rhythm. I'm gonna try to get into that. Just everything was just overlapping, underlapping, everything, and that wee kind of atonal sound. It wasn't so much that it wasn't like Dylan going electric, but Radiohead had been electric and then they went electronic, under Tom York having this nervous breakdown after the the tour in front of Gimps. I never got to the OK Computer tour, but I loved that album, and I can see folk were wanting more and more from him. And he just had this, just a simple song that got him out of his depression. Everything in its right place, get it back in its right. He's supposed to be in his right place. The public wanted him in his right place. It was depressing him. Rangers aren't in the right place. Shouldn't be at Hampden, is it? We've got this strange numerological thing going on where we've got one fullback plays number 2, the other fullback's wearing 22, and we've got one striker wearing 9, another striker comes on wearing 99. And when I left the game, and I went back to this, I found this street I've never been on before in my life. Lovely buildings over and about that area, just off Cathcart Road. And I'm driving, and I know there's a street that I go down. It's a dead end to get me onto Cathcart Road. I've done that a few times. That's the English, don't go that one. There's another one you go down where the traffic's totally backed up and you get in a massive queue. But there's one, just one wee kind of side street you get down and it just takes you straight onto Cathcart Road and you get into it. There's still a bit of a queue, but it's... And as I'm driving along these wee side streets, I can see the Union Bears. The Union Bears all marching. And there's 1,000 of them. All young dudes, all in black, and they're marching along the pavement that I've got to get through. I'm going to walk right. I'm going to pull. They're walking along Cathcart Road. I'm going to drive out and try and cut through them, and it's just not going to go. And they'll go, there's that big fat git. Somebody, nobody at that age would ever watch this podcast anyway, but I just imagine somebody of them say, that's that guy my dad watches, that's the guy my grandpa watches. I heard him saying we shouldn't have done such and such one time, let's pan his motor in. And you get a bit paranoid. So I'm trying to beat them all the time, and I managed to get out onto Cathcart Road. Somebody flashed me out just before they arrived, but then you getting stuck in traffic and the Union Bears are walking up the side of the pavement and they're coming onto the road and they're kind of brushing against the car and you're like, oh, I can't follow with Rangers football. We free on there, young man, I don't want to be falling out with Rangers supporters, just I don't want them scraping the motor and stuff. I'm getting really uptight and really silly. And it's like when you're in the car and there's a cyclist, you keep stopping at lights and the cyclist catches up with you and he's up the inside. There's no problem, but it's just annoying. And that was the same thing every time I got up there. They were overlapping. I get stuck in the traffic. They're all walking past, about 1,000 of them. And then the lights change and I drive past them enough to take a big swerve out to get round them, and then they're dropping up and it's underlapping and overlapping. Then I go to the Brazen Head and the police are all... They've all underlapped me, and there's a police van outside the Brazen Head pub. And I'm thinking, oh, aye, because the Union Bears are eventually going to get up there. But I don't have time. I'm going to overlap again. I just sped off to go to the West End. I don't want to see any trouble. It's underlapping. It was overlapping. It was really weird. I went to Morrison's on my way home to get something to eat. There was an underlapping aspect to that as well. But it's just the way Rangers played today. It was underlapping. It was overlapping. It was getting behind. It was beautifully weighted, perfectly flighted, sublimely judged and masterfully crafted and precisely calibrated balls in behind, constant, push, constant, forward. And if Ross County happened to knock them back, we had somebody coming in to pick up that ball and take it forward and walk it in at the back of the net. Everything in its right place. We shouldn't be at Hampden. We should be back at Ibrox, and I don't care now. I don't care about the big reception, the big welcome. I was talking last night in the preview pod about, it'll be better if it the Dundee game and there's only 3 stands open, and we could just all look at the empty Copelands and worship it for being brought up to spec, absolutely go crazy and everything. Or would it be better if we have the whole ground guaranteed to be open? No, because there's going to be a smaller crowd for that League Cup game anyway, because it's a 5:30 on a Saturday night kick-off. Or should we wait until we see the place is completely fit and we get a European tie, say, on the Thursday night, and it's maybe Eintracht Frankfurt or Athletic Club or Lazio or Rome or somebody like that? It's going to be massive for the whole place jumping. What a way to come back to Ibrox and celebrate being back home. Or we've got Hibs on the following Saturday or Sunday at Ibrox. That'd be fantastic. It's the first game I ever went to. First game I was telling you last night in the preview pod. First game I ever attended at Ibrox was Rangers against Hibs in 1977. What a way to get back to Ibrox after being away. But I don't care now. I don't care. Just get us back there. Just get us back. I'm done with the Hampden thing. It's not working. Kid A should have worked. That album should have worked. I only listened to it twice. It's no Radiohead. It's no OK Computer Radiohead. It's a nice Radiohead. It's a fine Radiohead. It's a great album. I love everything in its right place. I love the opening track of Kid A, but it's not the one I want. It's not the way I... In Hampden, it's over 50,000 capacity, red, white and blue seating all the way through it. My seat up in the main stand, the top tier of that main stand, comfy seating, escalators up to it, absolutely fantastic, brilliant views over the city and everything, the history, everything, I know it all. It's not the same. It's your grands, it's your aunties, but sometimes you just need to get back home. You need to get back to your roots. You need to have that. It doesn't matter if your house is a dump or whatever. You need that place where you can recharge the batteries. You know it's home. There's nothing to prove. My wife and I, we had to rent. Our dad was left in his. Our mum died, and dad needed a bit of a wee bit of care. No, he wasn't very steady in his feet. He was in his 80s at the time, so we had to move because there was stairs in our house, and we thought, right, we're going to give him respite care. My sister-in-law was through there, and then so we moved to. Let's sod it. Let's just go and rent somewhere. Let's rent. Don't messing about putting the house in the market and all that. Let's just because we want to move out that street anyway. We're looking for somewhere a bit bigger. We're in a kind of fortunate position. Let's get somewhere a bit bigger. But this all happens. So right, let's move, and we'll get a place that's just on one level. So we got this flat. It's just on one level, and you come through and blah blah blah. We could look after them and everything. These stairs and that for them to climb, and so we thought we'll just rent somewhere else, and we'll put the other house on the market. We can get it done up once it's empty and blah blah blah. I ended up putting all this stuff in storage from the alternate because. Well, it was two places we had to rent eventually, one after the other. But the second place was fully furnished; it was already furnished, so we had to get a lot over from it. And it's stuff like a £600 sofa from the Swedish place IKEA, one of the ones you put together, and this old stuff. It might even be antique, but right old kind of chairs and tables and that we just thought you were going to replace them one day, but we just put them in storage. And then once we eventually found a new place, we got the old place sold, and we got a new this place we're in just now. It was vacated before we'd actually moved in, and we thought that's fine because we're just around the corner. We've got this place we're rented. We'll take our time. We rented for an extra month, so we can just take our time moving in. Just don't have to get. But I went to the storage place, and man in his van. It was three guys, and they come, and we got this stuff that had been in storage for like 2 years, and we brought it around here. And they just left me, and I said, I'll put the place has all been freshly painted. I didn't want them getting accused of having scratched ends. Just leave the stuff there. I'll put it all together. I put the bed together upstairs, and I took the sofa and the living room and I put it together. And basically, we had about 3-4 bits of furniture for the whole house, and it was everything was in its right place. It was home straight away, and it's just like, let's go to this. Let's go to the rentage place. Never mind this. Taking a month. We're in. We'll just. It doesn't have to be perfect. We don't have to have the Copeland brand spanking new, completely open. Just get us in. Underlap, overlap. I don't care what game it is. Move in 30,000 of us for the Dundee game. 40,000 of us for the European game on the Thursday if we get drawn at home next Friday in the first game, and have 45,000 of us at the Hibs game. A bit of health and safety ground at the front of the Copeland, whatever. I don't care. Just get in there any way we can. Be back home, get back home, and this was a great way to say, goodbye to Hampden as a home venue for Rangers. Hopefully, we're only ever there again as as neutrals because we're in cup finals and cup semi-finals. Sorry, this is your Fatek. Rangers go top of the league with a fairly impressive 6-0 win over Ross County, scoring 6 goals in a domestic match for the first time. I think just under 3 years since we put 6 past Motherwell, beat Motherwell 6-1. Remember Kevin O'Donnell got sent off for them, and Fashion Sakala scored the hat trick. Was that the day he comes from Zambia? That day that song took off. Motorola stand at Fir Park there. It'd been on the go for a while. I think that was the day it got the publicity it needed to have Ibrox rocking with it afterwards. But we beat them 6-1 that day. That's just under 3 years ago, and just under 2 years since we lost by 6 clear goals at Ibrox to some team from England, Liverpool, something like Blackpool. One of the pool teams from England beat us 7-1. So that's that completely avenged. That's it. I will never think about that game again. 1958, if you want to go back to October 57, 58, season 58. I'm not really in any big hurry to remember precisely, but we did lose a League Cup final to a certain team in green and white hoops by 7-1 at Hampden. So I know we've done Dundee United in a League Cup semi and Ayr United in a semi-final by similar kind of scorelines, but it's just that's Rangers at Hampden winning by 6 clear goals. So we've totally avenged anything bad that's ever happened to us at Hampden with that win today. Post-match reaction pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Get yourself into Gersnet tomorrow night. That'll be Sunday night live, the flagship show, 9:30 on the YouTube channel. And the boys have got at least 6 goals to describe, if nothing else. And obviously they'll look forward to the end of the transfer window and next Sunday's big game against Celtic. I'm coming to you in association with Gersnet and also with One Man in a Van. Did you take your box? Did you pack a box? Everybody's supposed to take a box a day. I just, and Phil, we can just drop them off at Edmiston Drive next week. Do you get the van? The van's coming tomorrow. That's just supposed to help. You can't just turn up the season ticket and that mince in there, like just going to watch the fit when that's it. You've got to muck in. I get my box. My box is it's chock a block. I've got CDs in there. I get the Reader's Digest, all the Reader's Digest books, and I got a wee lamp on that. I've got the Poirot and the Heart to Heart box sets. I've got them. Oh, and that ashtray that your sister, I don't know why you keep it, that ashtray your sister brought us back from Fuengirola. It's absolutely, I think she does it to annoy me because she knows it doesn't go with your decor at all. But anyway, you insist on holding on to it. But I brought all that stuff in the box and they're all, that's it, we're ready to move back now. That's everything's, it's loaded, it's ready to go. And one man and a van will help you with that. My name's Alec Anderson, I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell are we doing here? We don't belong here. We don't belong here. We don't belong in Mount Florida for anything other than invitation games for the semi-finals, for finals, and some of our players, like young Connor Barron, go along there to represent their country. Rangers will beat Ross County by 6-0. We are top of the league, we are top of the league, and I'm quite sure we'll still be there when we go to Parkhead next Sunday. That was fantastic. That was really, really nice. It was just what the doctor ordered. It is only Ross County. The starting lineup today, it was Jack Butland in goals. We had Tav at right back and captain. Hefty, the lefty from Fluminense. It's a Flim Flam derby. Going to play the Old Firm derby, all the flims and flams and fools and forms. He'll be, doing a flu or something next week. He's doing really well. Young Hefty since he came in to replace or take over from or cover for Yilmaz at left back. We had, as predicted, Balogun and Suter. Balogun at left centre half and John Suter at right centre half. Sitting in the midfield, it was Connor Barron and Dujon Sterling, which was quite good to see. I was a bit worried about the fact it was Tom Lawrence, who I've not really been fancying at 10. He does good stuff. I was saying last night, he's a good player, but he's getting towards the end of his career and he's a lot of time out of injury. Maybe a bit lightweight, I've been saying for most of this season. I actually prefer us to have Diamande in there, so I was hoping Diamande was on the bench because he was being rested ahead of Parkhead next week, and it wasn't a case of that the manager actually prefers Lawrence, because what does Tom Lawrence actually do for us really in real terms? I was thinking to myself as the teams come down the tunnel, when I wasn't clapping in time with them at the start of the game today, was he clapping in time with everybody else? We had on the left hand side, it was Rabbi Matondo. Supposed to be going out the door, I don't know. Rabbi Matondo, I was quite happy. I'd said that last night. I think Matondo and the Hefty combinations down the left wing were quite good against St Johnstone, and Ross County aren't expected to be any much better than St Johnstone as an opponent, so that was fine. I was quite happy with that. And on the right wing, it was that Václav Cherny chap who we've got on loan, and that's him started 2 games in the trot now, so I'm assuming he's kind of tentative introduction in terms of health and fitness and health and safety, and is he going to break something, which I can't blame the manager for being worried about the way injuries go at this club. That seems to be over, and he's ready to start most games, I would imagine. Now he's going to be first choice. And it was Tom Lawrence at 10, as I say, and Cyril Dessers, who has knocked back that move to Atlanta United. He was up front on his own. How was he going to get on? Did he knock back that move because he wants to stay here, because he wants a better move? Who knows? We had a corner within 3 minutes. Everything was looking nice. We're going forward. We're pushing forward constantly. Ross County not giving us many problems at all, despite wearing, if their shots were just a little bit, a nick lighter, that would have been an Independiente strip. And I love Independiente, even though their strip's actually based on Nottingham Forest. They did a tour of South America, and it inspired them to wear the colours they do. Independiente, but the Forest changed their shorts over the years, but Independiente haven't. They're sticking to the kind of original, the shorts that Forest wore at the time. Anyway, I think teams in dark blue tend to have really smart kits. Dundee, I always like Dundee kits. They're always really nice as well. Their away kits are good. So it was, they were wearing red today, Ross County, with these kind of deep blue shorts with the white socks, quite chilly, quite Independiente of Avellaneda, Doble Visera Stadium. Anyway, never mind. So it was great. I'm just really excitable because the performance was really lovely, and we were pounding them straight away. And then Cyril Dessers, Tom Lawrence, who I was just thinking, don't know if he should be playing, a piece of skill the like of which I've seen for ages. He goes in facing his own goal. He's trying to get the ball before somebody, and he gets them just infinitesimally before it, but like one of your mates who you hate playing against at the fives, he kind of just, the other guy isn't going to get anywhere near it, even though there's inches in it, and he just takes the ball away and moves it away and sucks it into his possession and spins away towards goal, all in the one move. I think he beats somebody else as well, just barely a swivel of the hips, and plays a fantastic ball through to Cyril Dessers, who is waiting and who slots it away, who is the man with the plan. He's a man on the spot just now, Cyril. Absolutely lovely finish, an expert striker's finish, and Davey that I sit next to, he's roughly the same age as myself. We just started talking about Ali McCoist. We've been talking about Ali McCoist a lot, all of us, with Cyril Dessers, since we realised he was a man who's going to stick at it and still get goals and still get good tallies, get goal tallies, even though he was an all-round player. And we're talking about Ali again today, and Cyril Dessers doing the same thing. Only Cyril Dessers is playing one up front. Ali was playing, most of the time he'd have a strike partner when he was at Rangers. So it was fantastic moment for Cyril Dessers to maintain this scoring run, and then we went through and goal again, and Tom Lawrence, it was like a reciprocation. Dessers, that's another thing he's doing. I know he's not getting pace, and a lot of times today, especially in the first half, before I knew what was going to happen in the second half, I was thinking, God, if Dessers actually had proper pace, we'd be 4 or 5-0 up here, because the space we're just making so much space in behind Ross County. But this was the thing. Dessers just coming deep and dragging their two centre-halves, or at least one of them, towards him, because he's given them enough to do. This reputation he has for the ball not sticking to him, and I'm not being able to do anything outside the box. I've always thought it's been a bit harsh. I've never really felt as if it was completely true. He does have games where he doesn't seem to be able to control the ball, but most of the time I think he's really clever, and he's physical, and he's dragging guys in, and when you've got the runners going off him, Tom Lawrence today, he is athletic, Tom Lawrence, and you've got, you've got Tav, you've got your two fullbacks, and your two outside forwards going off him all the time, and you've got the 10 coming through the middle, and that's what happened today. He does the same thing. He takes the ball really clever, turns it, and he puts Tom Lawrence clean through. Tom Lawrence dinks it over the keeper, and it just one of the lovely moments, just drifts past the post. And the great thing that always happens in games like this is when you're scored the goal, everybody's happy. There's only 18 minutes gone, getting 20 minutes on the clock, you have a moment like that, and then there's a moment Matondo's cutting in from the left hand side. I don't know I can't even remember what we did. We're totally overpowering them in the box, and Matondo has a shot from an angle he should have scored, but he hits it off the bar, he rattles it off the bar, and it's that kind of, it's really aesthetically pleasing at a moment like that in a game. It's a little thunk, and it sounds great, it looks great. It was everything in its right place, and this time everything in its right place meant the ball whacking back off the bar, and you're thinking maybe that's Matondo, he's a terrible finisher, he's never going to make a name for himself here. But that was us powering away at them. It seemed that we're kind of like a big spear with serrated edges, and any time Ross County, and he did come forward, I think Jack Barron had to make a really kind of strange save where he seemed to catch his own original save. He kind of pushed it up in the air and then caught it again. It was a good save anyway. It worked out well in the end. And 40 minutes, we got what has now become the traditional nearly half-time, centre half having to go off with, hopefully it's just a precaution injury, and this time it was Leon Balogun at the corner coming in, our corner, into the Ross County box, and it was big John Souttar. He's not quite as lanky as his Australian brother, but he got up there. He always gets up really well. John Souttar, he stretchy himself, big rangy fella, as well as being quite bulky, and the ball's gone back the way. He's actually having to lean back the way, but still gets the neck muscles behind it, and the keeper has to do the old tip over the bar. But in that, while I'm watching that, I think it was in that same melee in the box, Leon Balogun's on the deck, took a bit of treatment for a while, and you're worried about us at centre half. Robin Proper's supposed to be coming back for the Old Firm game, but we need all the backup we can get, it's like at Rangers, and so the manager has to make the substitution, same as he did last week at half-time against St Johnstone, of a centre-half, and on comes Diomande. On comes Diomande, you're like, what? Oh, aye, and everybody's instantly, this means the Chancellor for the Duchy of Lancaster, the Minister without portfolio, Dujon Sterling, is getting moved back from sitting midfield, where he wasn't sitting at all. It wasn't sitting, it was as much 4-2-3-1 as often it was. Him and Conor Barron were vertical. Their two was kind of vertical as much as it was horizontal. It was a kind of 4-1-1, 3-1, if you like, at times. Dujon Sterling was absolutely everywhere in attack, and that was him going back to centre half, and he just slots. It's just, if he was any fitter, we wouldn't have him. If he was played more regularly, there's no way we'd have Dujon Sterling. And the fact that he does get injured and he has little periods out is the only thing that's stopping me thinking he is just the greatest player of all time. Certainly, utility player, he just wins it hands down. He's already won it won that title hands down, certainly in Rangers history. But when it comes to the way he just slots, he just looks like the most natural centre half in the world straight away. Okay, it's only Ross County, but we need a win. We need a big win, and we got a big win. And the other thing you're worried, it'd just be nice if we got a second one. We deserve a second one. Deserve. There's no such thing as deserve in football, but it'd be nice if we get the second one. It would confirm this as the kind of dominant performance we think it is, and maybe we just get one more in the second half, and that lets the manager take a few players off ahead of the trip to Parkhead next week. He can rest whoever he wants and get minutes into whoever he wants to. But it doesn't always happen like that at Rangers these days. And just Diomande comes on, I think it's his first touch. Tav takes the shy down towards the corner flag, the Ross County box. And Diomande gives it straight back to him, and Tav just plays in just one of these balls. I'm talking about in behind. We were playing them all day, these beautiful balls. Total precision ball, and Rabbi Matondo has just come right across to the front post and gets there just in front of the defenders, between the defenders and the goalkeeper, just gets to the ball first in a lovely cultured finish, and it goes 2-0, bottom corner. This is injury time in the first half, and it was just one of those, 2-0 against Ross County, but it was needed, and it was a real kind of lovely, yes, not a kind of, yeah, that's nice. It's one, yes, this is good, this is what we should be doing. We do 0-0 with Hearts, and then we got that 1-1 over in Poland against Dynamo Kiev, and then we go and beat Motherwell 2-1. And that was fine. We got our first league victory of the season. But it would be nice to be more comprehensive. We kind of faded in that game. Then we have the loss to Dynamo Kiev. We did go down to 10 men. It was quite an evenly balanced game. Controversial decision really turned that game. And then we step up, nice solid 2-0 win against St Johnstone without being spectacular, but at least we've got a 2-goal win for the first time this season. And then we've come and we've followed that up today. We're 2-0 up at half time. You're thinking, this is good. And they come in the second half, and Big Cyril, Dessers. We then proceeded to score. I think it was like 58 minutes to 60. Well, basically 10 minutes, we scored a goal from doing brilliantly down the left, doing brilliantly down the right, doing brilliantly through the middle. Not necessarily in that order. Rabbi Matondo, again, just the same as him and Dessers combined for the first goal last week against St Johnstone into the Rangers end. Same thing this week. Only it's the third goal of the game, 58 minutes. And Matondo, I think he beats somebody, but also just drives through the kind of inside for the inversion, overlapping, inverting, everything today. More like a inside left than outside left, and it just hits the byline basically and pulls it back, and there's Big Cyril. Lovely striker's finish. That's it. Dessers has got 2 goals. He's on 5.5 appearances this season. He's only come on for the second half. Last week, he's getting the numbers, and did he not go to Atlanta United because he wants to stay at Rangers? And now I think that, the worm has turned. We're totally like, let's keep this guy here. He was absolutely fantastic, and then I need to stop saying absolutely fantastic. That's all I say when I'm in a good mood. Tom Lawrence finally makes up for the wee miss he had. I suppose he's having a great game, Tom Lawrence. He was really helping run the show, and this time it was Matondo slotting it through the middle to him. He might, again, I can't really remember the build up because it was getting a bit dizzy at this point. I was starting to get the nosebleed, not just from the height of the main stand top tier, but from this performance from Rangers. A beautiful threaded ball from Matondo. This is more like the way he actually set up Dessers last week, even though Dessers had more work to do against St Johnstone. But Tom Lawrence goes in there, lovely. Cultured finish. I'm going to keep saying they were all cultured finishes. I don't think we had a header today. Nobody headed the ball in, did they? No, it was all finished with feet today. And that's it. It's 65 minutes gone, and we're 4-0 up. You think this is just absolutely lovely. And Tom Lawrence and Cyril Dessers get subbed off. Dowell and Danilo come on, and Dowell went into play at 10. And Danilo goes up front. The game is won. The points are in the bag, and it was a standing ovation for Cyril Dessers. And the lovely thing with the Hampden technical area has been so big. The length, they demark the boxes that you're allowed to. You've got to stay in if you're a manager, but also it bends away. There's a bend. There's a curve. It's an amphitheatre, Hampden. It's an elliptical stadium. There's a curve on the side stand as well in terms of the main stand side. So it dips back in towards the box. Towards the tunnel. And then obviously you go up steps to get to the actual the subs benches and all that. They're higher up than the club deck. They're really quite high, quite far back at Hampden. And then the manager got this massive. They've got this massive bit on the kind of the AstroTurf at the side of the pitch that's been demarked as the box. They can't come out. So Dessers comes up and he's getting a standing ovation as he gets up to the manager, who's at the front of his technical area. And so Big Philip likes to get a hod of folk and have a good chat in their ear. So he gets a hod of them. So everybody settles down, sits back in their seat, and then once the game's restarted, the manager finally lets Cyril go. He's still got half a mile to go until he gets to he gets to his actual seat. So he gets another standing ovation. Everybody's up applauding him. He's applauding us back. It's a total love in. And stay, Cyril. Just stay, mate. Aye, stay. That'll do fine. He's subbed off, and then Rabbi Matondo, who's still on the park, Cherny goes on the right hand side, and Cherny and Tav, by the way, talking of love-ins, Cherny and Tav, they're obviously Tav does combine brilliantly with proper football. This is the thing that always, one of the many things that confirms for me why we stick by Tav, why I think he's a great player, and why I'm not saying he's beyond criticism. Obviously defensively really ropey at times, and he's not had the best of the starts to his season, best of ends to the last season. But one of the signs through his career at Rangers is, I remember when we signed Aaron Ramsey, for example. Didn't end well for Aaron Ramsey, but obviously a quality player. And scored goals in the FA Cup finals, stuff like that. Plays for the Arsenal, played international, played at finals and that for Wales. And we played with Dundee in the Scottish Cup. I think that was the first time Ramsey played for us. And him and Tav were just having great fun straight away. Just like, a really watered down, really diluted version of when Trevor Francis made his Rangers debut and him and Graham Souness were just given it. We used to play for Sampdoria. There was that vibe going on today, I thought, between Cherny and Tav. Some of the stuff they were doing was lovely. They could never quite finish it off though. But some of them, they're reading each other and all that, and they're both kind of going, "Yeah, we're really cultured, aren't we? We're actually quite clever footballers, aren't we?" There's one point with a free kick out in the left hand side in the first half, and Tav and Cherny are out there, kind of, they're both standing over the ball, and it's kind of like Tav's, yeah, it's. I'm right footed that, and it's a left wing, but this will cause havoc if I float this in here. And Cherny's gone, well, I'm actually a right winger who plays with his uses his left foot, but here I am out on the left wing. What's going to happen now? And the two of them are loving it. So they were having great fun together the day, that pair. But Cherny, he's on the right hand side, and he pulls the ball across the box, and then goes Rabbi Matondo to put it away like a striker. And yeah, the Matondo and Cherny, they get subbed off, and we've got Robbie Fraser and Ross McCausland coming on, but not like that's the same substitutions as last week. But this time, Ross McCausland goes on the left hand side, and Robbie Fraser goes down the right. So it's inverted. Everything's getting turned. Everything in its right place. Everything's getting turned, overlapping, underlapping. I don't know what's going on today. But the only thing was Danilo. He comes on. He's on the park, as I say, and there's a kind of comedy errors at the back. This is the 90th minute, last kick of the normal time anyway, and the ball ends up coming to Danilo. I don't know. I'm struggling, so I'm trying to remember exactly what happened at that point. Everyone just seemed to be going. So I was getting kind of lightheaded. But the ball, I think they failed to clear it. Ross County, I think, made a right rick of clearing it, and I might have come off the backside of one of their defenders or something like that. And next thing, Danilo he's through. He's one, but like any good striker, he's ready. And he slots it beautifully, calmly. Not snatching at it. Anybody else you're thinking he'd be snatching this ball on, but no, slots it under the goalkeeper. A beautiful finish, and the celebrations went on for ages, and a lot of them are choreographed as well. This man, though, Danilo, hasn't even played a full game. He had a half last week, and that's him. He's come on for a few minutes this week, and he's got his first goal of the season. So the way we held him back, I think, was the right thing to do. And yeah, we look to be in fine nick. As fine a nick as you can expect with this squad. Connor Barron is that's twice now. He did the presser yesterday. He was the player offered up to the press yesterday, Friday, and that's the second time I've seen / heard him being interviewed at a Rangers press conference. And he comes across as a really humble, really focused, really articulate, intelligent, properly down to earth young man, focused. And I think he's going to need to double down on that, because I'm already doing it, and it's way ahead. He's only been here for a few weeks. It's far too early to tell. You never know. We could get humiliated next week at Parkhead. You never know how that's going to go. But he's really, I thought he could have got man of the match today. I know it's going to be one of the guys who I'm probably going to watch him every week. And just if you start watching him, you're going to get fixated. There'll be a confirmation bias going on because he's doing so much so well. He is doing the Lundstrom thing. We can see how it's getting done. It wasn't a John Lundstrom thing. It's a tactic. We saw it happening. John Lundstrom when Michael Beale was at Rangers, but Obviously, Philip Clement likes it as well, but he was coming right in between the two centre halves at times. He's sitting really, really deep a lot of time, Conor Barron, but he's prompt and stuff. I remember one bit in the first half where John Shooter is piling forward and Conor Barron's right in behind him. The size of him is tiny as well, Conor Barron, but he's got a bit of the colouring of the hair, and maybe it's because I'm up the top of that south stand quite far away, but just especially when we're 4-5-0 up, he's got a wee bit of the Scotty Arfield swagger, the way he walks about. Different position he's playing, but he doesn't stop running. He doesn't stop running, and it's pointed. There's a razor's edge to everything he is doing. Very intelligent player, and a kind of counterpoint to Callum McGregor, and you can imagine a game. I can imagine a game where Callum McGregor will own him. Celtic will own him, perhaps, and it'll be like, right, and that's a game where he'll grow up another level or two, and he's going to have to come through stuff like that. But I hope he gets a Scotland cap. I hope he gets picked for that Scotland team, because I think he needs to keep going up the way in his career. I want as many good influences on him as possible, but I just thought the wee man was absolutely fantastic today as well, and it's not the first time he's been fantastic in a Rangers jersey, so I'm really looking forward to his career. And Rabbi Matondo's, is he so good today because, excuse me, I'm getting overexcited. But was he so good today because he knows he's leaving? He was good last week against St Johnstone as well. And last week we're giving it, well, he's still, a great, fantastic setup for Dessers last week against St Johnstone, but you're still thinking, he's a bit wild with the finishing and the crossing at times, Matondo, very wasteful player. Well, that's today, he scored 2, set up 2 and rattled 1 off the bar. And this is St Johnstone. It's supposed to be, no, he doesn't do this against the St Johnstones. That's the problem with Rabbi Matondo when teams are sitting in. Ross County did not sit in today. Ross County, maybe they should have, obviously, but they were getting pinned back for most of the game. But he scores a wonder goal against Celtic. He scores a wonder goal against PSV Eindhoven, the Champions League playoff. He's not supposed to be able to do it against these kind of teams. Maybe, I don't know if maybe it's that optical illusion of all the space that's behind the goals at Hampden, between the goal line and the front row at the back of the Rangers end, the front row of the Rangers end, the front row of the Celtic end. It just maybe makes him think there's more space here to run into, or is it because he's fighting for his place? Is he fighting for, he thinks staying at Rangers is better than going on loan to Blackburn Rovers, money-wise, career-wise? Is just because the transfer window's come up, he's trying to get a move? I don't know, but he really seemed to enjoy that goal today. The second goal, the goal scored in the second half, he seemed absolutely delighted, as if, I want to be a Rangers player. And he's made a real case for himself. We've got Celtic, obviously, next that's our next game. Big moment, Friday, the draw for the Europa League. Ibn its right place, that is somewhere we are very much at home. It's the Europa League, that is a second home for us. The Europa League group stages, even though it's a new group stage, a bit like Goodbye to Ibrox, and the Copeland's been slightly altered. There's a newness to it, but it's something we're very familiar with, and then it's followed up on Sunday with anti-home, not your auntie's home, an anti-home, like the very place. I think maybe going to Hampden and seeing the whole Rangers support there, but it's not. Today I'd say low 40s, maybe around about the 40,000 mark, but everybody's in the right place. Everything was in its right place. The crowd was at least spread around the stadium. The Celtic ends as full as the North Stand and the South Stand. So obviously the season tickets seats are all getting used again, but there's plenty of empty seats you can see, and it must be weird because the Rangers supporters are unenthused by the move to Hampden. It's definitely created a bit of a downturn in atmosphere and attitude and in belief. But the players going out there and seeing Rangers supporters, well, we're at home here. It's kind of a weird one. They go to Parkhead. Oh, that's fine. Everybody hates us here. We've got no pals here, and it's going to be hard. That's fine. We've done this before. We're used to this. Maybe that's something. There's going to be a strange familiarity there, but we needed to get this result. We needed to get it's not a complete performance when it's against Ross County, but they're 2-0 up at the break and deserve to be 2-0 up at the break, and then they come into the second half and literally double down on that and score 4 more goals. And the strikers are getting the goals, the forward players are getting the goals, and everything is looking good for at a point where we had a week to recover from the League Cup tie upon the European tie upon the league tie, our first 3 games at Hampden, if you like, and then we've now got another week to recover with this in the bank, with the knowledge that we can play this kind of football and we will put teams away. It's must be Clement's biggest win. I know he's 5-0 against Hearts, 5-0 away to Dundee, But there's that thing at the end of the game against Hibs, his first game as Rangers manager, which is still last night. We're still to get to that point where we've had a manager for more than a year for the first time in 4 years. But we're getting slowly towards it. This will help him towards it. Next week could very easily knock him back towards joining the pile with Gio and Bale. But that thing that happened at the end of that game against Hibs, we beat Hibs 4-0 on his managerial debut. And at the end of the game, every at Ibrox, Rangers at home was just singing, "We love you, Rangers. We do. We love you, Rangers." It's just lovely. It just comes out of nowhere. It's not a song that's in the repertoire of the Union Bears, but obviously they're singing it. Maybe they started singing it, but everybody sings it. It's a song that's been on the go since I was a kid. I told you about my mate. I told this after the cup final, one of the pods I did just after the Scottish Cup final, the Ibroxonia. How my mate actually, Robert, is a musician, and the fellow that wrote this, I forget his name, sorry, but he kind of knows Robert through somebody else. I knew Robert through somebody else, and my mate's actually the first person he recorded a version of Ibroxonia. I know it's based on the Caledonia song and what have you, but this fella came along and suggested the lyrics and that, and a kind of arrangement to Robert, and he did a wee rough demo, and it's brilliant. He sent it to me. It's absolutely fantastic. And I knew nothing about it, and it gave us something. When we lost that Scottish Cup final, I was devastated last year. It meant we're kind of on the back foot again. We'd got 2 trophies to Celtic's 1 kind of thing. The St Johnstone in 2021 scenario. It would have made us feel a hell of a lot better. Then we're on their back, and it's been a long summer because of that. Add on the stuff that's happened with Ibrox not being ready. The doubt has been there. So Ibroxonia was something. I go into the pub after that game. I'm talking to him, and I'm talking about this song, and he was telling me all about it. Can you hear that dog barking outside? There's dogs fighting outside. This is us getting warmed up for the Old Firm. And everything in its right place. It's a song about, I've got 2 colours in my head. I've got 2 colours. One's green and one's blue. And we'll see how that goes. But I actually, I know the guy that wrote it, or the guy that wrote the lyrics to Caledonia and changed it to Ibrox, and I suggested the title Ibroxonia. This is amazing, and it gave us something to it gave me something that made me feel a lot better about the whole day, because I know there was a lot of emotion. The Rangers support was fantastic, and we had good performances from Diamonde, Raskin in that game, and from Big Dujon that gave me kind of hope for the future. But there wasn't a lot to cling on to through that summer, and that was one of them. And my mate, a guy I used to work with, Multiple Man, he's been on the comments section after I was talking endlessly about Heat, my favourite heist movie. I'm sorry about going on about it so much, folks, but I was talking about that last night, and I was giving all the classic lines, all the fun lines, barbecue and ball. What the fuck is that? Regular type life, barbecues and ball games. That's going to be the title of my autobiography, and. Get killed walking your doggy. That's going to be the title of my jazz quartet's first album, and Stress Fractures and Titanium is going to be the title of my first book of poetry. But I used to work with Multiple Man, and what a guy, absolutely fantastic. Hello to you, sir. And we bonded over Rangers first and foremost, obviously, but also Gerd Muller. Their bomber, the legend it is, Gerd Muller, and also Heat. Used to be chat movies, and I would rant on about Heat, and he'd get back to me today with a few quotes, or a version of a few quotes that I remember discussing with him from Heat. And there's certain quotes, there's certain from stuff that does mean a lot to you. There's certain lyrics that you don't repeat cheaply, that you don't say too readily. And Ibroxonia, the whole thing about I can't say it because it will make me cry. Ibrox Stadium is calling us. It's calling us all. It's calling us back there. And no offence to Hampden, which is a stadium that I love in a different way. But there's a sacred lyric from Ibroxonia, and I've been hearing it. I heard it last season. I heard it at Hampden, the Scottish Cup final. But when I heard it again today, it just meant so much more. The same way Big Deeks get back to me, Multiple Man get back to me with that, with the Heat quotes last night, the ones that mean a hell of a lot more to me. It was nice. I hope that is us. I hope that's us saying goodbye to Hampden, and you'll certainly hope that's me saying goodbye to this podcast. There was something else I had to say, but of course I managed to have forgotten it. I will be back to you at the latest to talk about, I would imagine, the draw for the Europa League. I'll be quite excited about that. About European football, I love that. That's on Friday. Aye, that's the thing. That is the thing about today. Matondo playing so well, and rumours that he's going to be going on loan somewhere else, other clubs are in for him. Apparently, I think the manager has been talking about it in the presser today after the game. I've only seen stuff on Twitter and that about it. So don't quote me. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I think he was intimating that maybe Hadji and Cantwell will go, and I don't know if he's having a rethink on Matondo. But I would have been happy enough with that team today. I would prefer to see Danilo. So I would prefer to see, obviously, Dessers, you want to see him starting the game. I prefer to see Diamonde at 10. But the way Tom Lawrence played today, who could argue against him getting a start? And I would have Dujon and Barron as a sitting two. If we can get Proper back at centre half alongside whoever he plays alongside, I imagine it's going to be Suter. But we want this team to that team today. I'll be happy with them going and playing at Parkhead. They definitely proved they're worth their jersey. But the game's on Sunday, 1st of September, and the transfer window will end before that. So it'll be really interesting to see who goes. And I think the best thing I can say is that I don't want any of those players that were playing for Rangers today to depart. I had a thing in my head where I thought, in terms of our squad, that 2 weeks ago was a line I was going to use in this pod, and there's nothing worse than thinking of a line and then you can tell straight away that it's been regurgitated. So I binned it, but I was going to use it last night, which was, I want this squad to get to the stage where Cyril Dessers and Ross McCausland can't get a game for us, because this season and towards the end of last season, Cyril Dessers and Ross McCausland are two players that I loved, and I knew, or I thought I knew at that point, weren't good enough for us. They weren't good enough for what we want to achieve and for what we want to do. I didn't think like Dessers had enough speed. He's not got any pace at all, and his finishing was questionable at times. And I didn't think Ross McCausland's got enough speed, and his physicality obviously questionable at times. But I don't think Ross McCausland hasn't done much less than Václav Černý this season, and I was raging the one position where we had a great understudy and a great first pick. If you're assuming Černý is going to be the first pick, it just made it really unfair because we need. I love Dessers and McCausland. I can't. It's like the way I used to feel about Jason Holt when he was at Rangers. I know he's no good enough for what we want to achieve, but he's just giving it everything, and he's no messing about. You can see his attitude is perfect. Attitude isn't enough on its own, so I want to be in a position where they can't get into the Rangers team, and I think Cyril Dessers he's already turned that on its head. He's getting better and better. He's now he does warrant a start. Maybe if we take a pounding at Parkhead next week and his lack of pace gets shown up there, it's a different proposition altogether from Ross County at home. I don't know. Ross McCausland come on today, and he did as well as he did last week against St Johnstone as well. He comes off the bench, he scores a goal. His application it's fantastic. His nous for such a young man is really fantastic, and I'm maybe still at a situation where Ross McCausland has to be second choice, but Cyril Dessers has changed that, and. Yeah, so I can't say that anymore. I can't say that I want to be in a situation where Cyril Dessers doesn't start for us. But I hope I'm still saying that this time next week. Anyway, that's enough from me, lad. It's been a great day, folks. A really good day. But it is only Ross County, and the main thing is that hopefully that is our last game using Hampden as a home. Everything in its right place.